here for? Having a good time.
Welcome back to the One Table Podcast, where we have honest conversations about unity, justice, and reconciliation in the multi-ethnic church. I'm Jen Cook, joined as always by my co-host, Gary Chalk.
Good morning, or after, I don't know what time it is.
I know, it's something.
Oh.
And one more.
Hello, whatever time you're watching this.
It's morning, but
Yeah, whatever time you're listening. Greetings.
Greetings.
Salutations.
Our episode today is about justice as a kingdom value, and not as a trend, not as a talking point, but as something deeply rooted in who God is.
And I'm excited about this. I think in our individual conversations, we've had some off-mic good conversations just in justice and just defining that. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm ready. I just put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, good.
So we're about to get in it.
No distractions, Betty.
Is it like somebody taking their earrings off?
Let's go.
No, this
Okay, so let's start here. Is justice central to the gospel, or is it something extra?
And I would say it is very much central, but I don't think that it is a talking point. It's not hammered home enough as, on Sundays.
Okay. You mean like in sermons?
In sermons, yeah. I don't think we teach,
and stuff like that. Okay.
I think we don't teach about justice until something happens, which now we want to discuss it. I think then it becomes central.
Right.
But that's just a Sunday morning teaching in a series. It's not too often.
Yeah. I mean, when you look in scripture and see how much God really cares about making sure that things are right or righteous, or you see that all over the place, especially like when he gives us laws. He's given his laws to the Israelites, and he makes specific points about the people on the fringe for them. And those would be foreigners or people that have come into their community that aren't Jewish,
right.
Aren't the chosen people of God.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes some very specific commands about how you're supposed to treat them with respect and dignity and care, which is very different than anywhere else, especially at that time.
Even today.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and caring for, it tells them what to do when there's the poor among them, right? And they've got these fields, and he says, just harvest, right? And there's going to be some stuff that falls. Don't pick it up.
Yep.
So that those who are poor and they need food or whatever, they can come behind and pick up the leftover, And so that's very different way of doing life, where you're not just thinking about yourself,
right? But
you're going, okay, I'm doing what I'm doing, but I know that there are other people who need me to help provide for them, and God sets up a lot. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But he sets that up. So it's a big deal.
And a lot of ways for us to join in with him, not just, Yeah. So where do you think, because Gary, you mentioned that it's not really talked about. So where did the disconnect start? Where did it get separated?
I think when we started looking, like I was talking about earlier, like we started looking at justice as a punitive thing. And so a lot of communicators, pastors stay away from that because that is such a personal topic to some people. You start talking about justice for, as we're talking about it now, it's just making things right with all people, with God's people, with our relationship with God, like we said, with neighbor to neighbor. But when we're thinking about punitive justice is where everybody, I know especially in the Black church, they talk about it a lot. Just because of things that have happened over the years.
Right.
And so we tend to we tend to like make the gospel warm and fuzzy.
Hmm.
We want to talk about God's love and above anything else, love like Christ did. But we forget that there was justice in that. And so I think you don't hear that sermon as much on Sunday mornings.
Like what, like it almost like justice is part of love, but people don't talk about that. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've been looking at these Hebrew words, and somebody else is going to have to say them because I've forgotten how to pronounce them already, and I'm about to butcher it. So
Mishpat.
Okay, which is the word for justice. And I'm going to just read this definition I have in front of me. It's rectifying action that is taking, it is the act of taking steps to restore. And then there's another Hebrew word.
Tzedekah.
Thank you. Tzedekah, which is righteousness. Okay. So I'm going to define that within here. So, and righteousness is the relational integrity. It's a standard of right relationships between God and men and neighbor to neighbor. Okay.
Yes.
So if mishpat is rectifying this action of, and it's rectifying action that is act of taking the step to restore this right relationship for God and men and between neighbor and neighbor. When that is broken, we want to provide justice. We want to provide mishpat, okay? And it's particularly for the vulnerable, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't typically have the means or the power to do that for themselves, okay? And so, and it would be the orphan, the widow, the immigrant, or essentially, if you have stuff and a place in society, those people not like you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so justice, if it's that, especially bringing back, and I'm a harp on neighbor to neighbor. We talk about God to men in church all the time.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, so that's part of it. Please hear me say that.
Yeah.
It's definitely a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's what Gary was saying, we lean heavily on.
Mm-hmm.
But the neighbor to neighbor piece, that's where we start to get sticky.
That is,
which is why Jesus had to answer the question, who's my neighbor?
Yeah.
Because we've had that stickiness since the beginning.
Yeah.
You got Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. I'm like, man, we did not wait long
Right.
before things went awry,
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that's just that selfishness that's been in us all. And I mean, we do it now because, we say we want to protect the vulnerable. We want to do it in a certain way.
Yeah.
It can get sticky right now. Like when we think about, you said the words, immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
We want to love our immigrants, but that's the whole hot button topic now. How do we do that well within a system? But is that system being ran justly?
Right.
And that's where I think we lean today.
Well, and it's almost like when you were saying that, it made me think it's almost like the vulnerable have to earn their justice.
And they have to, and I get it. You have to have some systems of control in that. Yeah. But like, we don't just do hey, let me help you. Like, even if I give somebody standing on the corner $1 or whatever change I have, my mind automatically works into, well, what is he going to do with that? Or what, am I going to have to do this every day? Like,
almost like, was he good enough for that $1?
Yeah. And so we're not making the systems so where everyone, it's all fair.
Yeah.
And equitable, and everybody has the bare essentials. Everybody has food, shelter, clothing, and the opportunity to have a great life.
Mm-hmm.
And so and so when this topic came up, I immediately started saying, like, where are we going to go?
There's a lot of ways to go with it, for sure.
And that kind of goes into the next question of, how has your personal understanding of justice evolved as you've grown in your faith? And I think, Gary, you were talking some about what you used to, or maybe it was Twan before we started.
Yeah, it was me.
Okay.
When I was just saying, till I was about probably 30, mid-30s, if you had just said, what do you think of when you think justice, I would have thought justice system, punitive, law brought down on a criminal.
Mhm.
And that would have been it.
Mhm.
You know, I would not have been thinking about neighbor to neighbor equity, helping the poor. I would have thought that was something we should have done, but I would not have called it justice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so when you bring that into it and you put it together, and there's just this wider view of, or not wider view, more complete view of when God is calling for justice. When God is calling for justice, he is not just talking about condemning the wrongs that are done, but he's talking about raising where if people are landscape and those who have a lot are in the mountain peaks and those who don't have are in the deep valleys, he's talking about bringing the mountain peaks down, raising the valleys so that we're all on level ground.
Right.
You know, and I think that's the justice we're trying to do. Make it so that it's all equitable. You know, now somebody's out there hearing me saying, oh, so I've earned all this stuff, Twan,
Yeah.
and I've done all this work, and you want to take me down off my mountain that I've worked hard for and built, just
like
so
communism or
somebody's in the valley. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really not talking about how you gain your wealth or that. What I'm talking about is what Gary said about just making it so that everyone is able to live well,
Mhm.
you know, able to have those necessities. And I would even say, and also potential to grow that themselves.
Right.
So that they can provide the same things that they've been given, you know, if they are on the fringe and needed it. I think that's what God is wanting us to do, to be able to take our things that we have wherever you are on the landscape people spectrum that I've been saying, and be able to put that towards the whole for everyone's benefit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I think sometimes that's where people get caught up and they're like, so you're thinking that everybody should have the exact same across the board, and that's not what we're saying. But sometimes my little bit is just is worth as much to me as your lot. And I think we get lost in that, but it's when the people that don't have, the people that don't have the opportunities, the less fortunate, and we just skip across them. Or for them, like you said, to get help, to have to weave and go through these systems of, I have to apply for this, I have to meet this criteria. And I think that meeting the criteria was not biblical, because we've all earned it. We're reconciled through Christ and through God's love. And so when we're talking about justice right now, like Twan has eloquently.
I don't know if it's eloquent. I mean, I had to get some help on some pronunciation, so.
Like, we're doing research for this, guys. In Hebrew.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And I don't know about you guys, but you know that part in Acts where it's like everyone was together and I forget how it's worded. You know, they shared things so that nobody had needs. I never saw that as justice before, maybe like this very moment of like, that's what justice maybe looks like in the church, neighbor to neighbor, where nobody in the church should be, you know, in need.
And that's a fair, because that's a lot of people's pushback against church. Not necessarily religion, but against church. You hear that a lot of times. Who has the church ever helped? You know, they think that the church takes all of this, your tithing and giving, and it's just for the church. Like, and they think that everybody's teaching the prosperity gospel, and all the pastors around here are driving Bentleys and stuff like this. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Being a minister, I'm not driving a Bentley.
Right.
I know, hard to believe, right?
And I even think when you say, oh, the church hasn't done, and there came a point in my life when I had to stop saying the church hasn't done and say we haven't done.
Yeah.
Because I'm part of the church.
Yes.
And so,
yeah,
typically we think, oh, church, we're talking about, oh, those people with, offices and they got titles and the leadership. But the church is every last one of us.
That's true.
And don't necessarily need to wait for the church to put on the service project that we're all going to go do or they're going to disseminate the funds to everybody. It's all of us going, okay, we are the body of Christ. And if Christ, the head, is telling me to care for the orphans, widows, the poor, then I need to have eyes for that too, not just as this organization out there or this place that I go to, but me personally seeing people who are in need.
And that's a good point, Twan. Like the church is your small groups. The church is the different volunteer ministries that you are. Like when you see someone with a need in that, be proactive. Like you want to encourage people like, hey, you're a part of this group that's bigger than just an organization. It's bigger than just coming on Sundays, we're meeting, we're doing life together.
Yeah.
So when you're doing life together, you can't treat me like that old uncle that always needs something. You like, look, this is the last time I'm gonna give you anything.
Yeah.
And so
yeah. So it sounds like what we're saying is justice isn't an extra of the gospel. It's a demonstration of the gospel. It's integral.
Yeah.
Integral. Yes.
Tzadeqah. Yeah. Okay. So
always go back to
so let's talk about unity because that's core to who we are at one table.
Yeah.
So why is justice necessary for real unity?
Man, until you posed that question right now, I probably would have had an answer, but after this conversation about tzadeqah, just got to keep saying it. No, it's core because to be unified, you can't have, if the justice isn't there, there won't be true unity because everybody's not going to feel complete and kind of whole in this thing.
And safe.
And so,
Yeah.
If I'm already feeling like I'm not being treated or I don't have the same opportunities, how could there be unity?
Right.
That's what it puzzles me that we're still having these talks during this time with something so simple. It's just everybody feeling like they have the same opportunities, the same chances. It doesn't mean we have to have exactly the same. Like, I don't think that just because, Twan, you have a PhD, I'm supposed to have a PhD.
Twan doesn't have a PhD, by the way.
Dr. Moore.
So,
but the same opportunities that Twan had to get his PhD, I had that same opportunity. Now that's a choice whether I want to do it or not. Like I like to eat steak. Everybody should have an opportunity to eat steak. Might not have the same cut. But you got steak. So, but to feel true unity, I think we all have to feel like we have the same seat at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if justice is about the act of stepping in to restore right relationships between God and man and men to men, then if there's a lot of inequality around us, then those relationships tend to still be broken.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's important because if we're all in the same room singing Kumbaya, but there's no real sense of we are one, not just in the song that we're singing, but in our actions between each other, then the justice that we're saying it's supposed to be there, the people who aren't getting that are going to see straight through that.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, man, who is this? Really? Is this the justice that you're talking about? Because what you're telling me and what I'm receiving is very different, and then the walls just tend to continue to be built.
Well, and if unity and justice are so a part, I'm not even going to try to say it integral again, a part of who God is. I know, but I couldn't, like that word. Then aren't we quenching the spirit when we're not doing justice, when we're leaving that out or acting like it's an extra? And then is the Holy Spirit there?
I mean,
in a church?
Oh, there's a lot of times where we we can block the Holy Spirit out.
Yeah.
I mean, you looking at every Sunday in some buildings, people are worshiping, and they are all one for about an hour and a half. Now, if you go to a black church, it might be 2.5 hours, but they're all one. But as soon as they get in that car and go get on their way to their own destinations, that is out the door. Now
So maybe they were just singing.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that's the case for everyone,
Well,
but there are some
yeah.
people that come to church every Sunday or Wednesday, whenever you worship. You feel in the moment that you're there, but you don't feel really a part of that church or that church community. And I think that it has to do with all of us who are Christian, who are 10, to really practice kind of what we preach and making people feel like they are equal, not just in that hour and a half, but after that. What are we doing? Not just the programs of wishing, are we really making relationships? Are we really loving our neighbors? Not just the people that look like us, or, that we're in our same social circles, but are we meeting, I think every church has greeters to make people feel welcome. They're like, you greet me, say hello, you say goodbye. But what is the relationship after that?
So let's assume, because I think most people have good intentions most of the time, right? So what are some ways that are subtle that injustice can exist in a church?
I mean, we can look at the leadership of your church versus what the makeup of your church is.
Okay.
If you have let's say, multi-ethnic church, and it's percent Black, this percent Hispanic, this percent whatever, but your leadership is made up of just one of those groups. Like, you can have a multi-ethnic church, but your whole leadership is Hispanic. So every decision that's made is through that interpretation, and I'm just this white guy that comes there, and I'm like, I would like to hear or see a different, teaching is kind of geared towards me, or a moment that is geared here that could be more unified. I mean, so those are subtle ways. I mean, doing things or holding events that are not really open and a welcome to everybody. I mean, I'll share a personal story. I went on a retreat. I don't like being outside, and I don't like hunting. But that was the option to go. It wasn't any thought of saying, okay, we have this diverse group of this, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to go out to the wilderness. And I tell you, I really don't like the outside. I went camping one time, and that's why I don't want to go on that tangent. But but we do things, and we host events that aren't sometimes not representative of the communities that the church is in.
I know they have they're starting a men's group at night, right? Because somebody in our church noticed that all the men's groups were during the day, and a lot of men work during the day. So they started one at night. I mean,
And that's where it takes everyone to notice those things.
Yeah.
Like somebody to step back and say, okay, here's all the things that are going on. Are we leaving out this demo?
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking, like you said, it doesn't have anything to do with race or anything like that. It's, hey, all of our options are during the daytime. So that's going to have the entrepreneur, the stay-at-home dad, let's say, the retiree. But what about that other demographic that we're trying to reach, that we want to see, that we want to spread the gospel to, that we want to pour into their discipleship? So those are the ways, like, you can get caught up in that. I'm sure it's everywhere. Like, I'm not going to a 7:30 prayer meeting either. I need mine in PM. I've seen some 7:30 a.m.
You're not going to see Gary outside and praying in the morning.
Not at 7.
That's what I'm getting from this.
I think the ways are subtle. I mean, they're hard to say because they are subtle, but
Yeah.
the point is we've got to think about others. Well, I want to say we got to think about others, but we got to think of ourselves, truly believe that we're one family.
Mm-hmm.
We talk a lot about others or them, and and if I can get away from seeing the church as a bunch of separate people,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see them as all being my brothers and sisters,
Right.
then I am concerned. When you fix a meal at home, there's typically a plate for everyone.
Typically.
Right? Yeah.
Unless
And if
somebody's
you
in
run out.
trouble.
Or somebody came
Mm-hmm.
late after work and all the food got eaten,
Hey.
but we won't talk about what happens in
You all right?
some homes.
You all right? You all right, brother?
Well, say,
You okay?
Right.
I'm okay. I've been seeing people about that. And so, but the point is, when you think about your family and taking care of their needs for a meal, you're thinking about everybody.
True. That's true. Yeah.
Whether they're infants, whether they're,
Mhm.
Young adults, whatever they are, that there's a space for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have these subtle ways that it shows up because we're just not used to thinking of people who look different than me or in a different house or different economic standard as being my family.
Mm-hmm.
If I could really, or I say if I could open myself up to the Spirit, turning my heart and eyes to the family, then I think that a lot of those subtle ways will begin to dwindle.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And like we said this earlier, we all are the church. So if I'm sitting in a church and I'm like, man, I'm getting fed and this and that, and I'm like, I wish they had this. And that's everybody sitting here and everybody listening. You have to know that you have to feel empowered and feel equipped to say, I want to start an evening Bible study. I want,
Yeah.
let me search. Hey, Lord, he qualifies the call, right?
And maybe he put that on your heart to do, because it's not just your need. There's probably somebody else that needs what you need or what you've noticed is a gap.
So sometimes we can let the church itself, the offices, the people, the staff off the hook sometime if we take ownership of the mission.
Mm-hmm. So we're kind of moving into the last segment here, where what do we actually do? Like, how can we live this out practically?
Yeah, I think I don't know. Yeah, we need to have practical steps.
I mean, what you said is practical. Like, if you in church feel like there's something that you need, see that as maybe God's putting that on your heart to bring up.
Yeah. But I think too, we have to have some honest dialogue with your church or with leaders and come from a sincere place, not of a complaining, like, why don't y'all have this? Why don't you do that? Like, because there might be a reason why your church, whether it might be staff limitations, it could be space limit, it could be anything, but until you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to, like we say, pull up a chair to the table and have honest dialogue. Because that's what I think everybody truly, truly wants. Whether they say it out loud or say it like we do, everybody wants unity of some sort.
Yeah.
And I think the biblical unity is where we can love each other. Honestly, that don't mean we're going to always be just joyful and laughing and this and that. But if I love you, I can have a disagreement or whatever, but I still love you. There's not any malice in my heart.
Yeah.
And there should not be.
Yeah. You brought up having these honest discussions, and we were talking about Acts chapter 6, where there's the story of there were these Hellenistic Greek widows who were not getting portions brought to them like the Jewish widows were. And so people brought that up to the apostles. And they were like, man, we can't do that. That's not our job to do that because God has called us to do this. But
we can select.
What we can do is we can get some men, leaders who are there to think, who are already thinking about those folks, put them in places where they have access to the distribution and help those widows get what they need.
Yeah.
You know, and so they help set up that system. So one, the conversation occurred. Yeah. Two, the leaders saw it and thought, how can this be done? I can't, but who can we find? Mm-hmm. Three, those people had to be asked and they had to accept, you know, and four, then they had to get it done. Mm-hmm. Right. And so when you talk about practical things, have the discussion, be ready to hear it, you know, and come up with, really brainstorm a structure, put the right people in place. Okay. Which for those guys, those people did not look like them. They looked like the other folks. Okay. And see the follow through. All of that, all those are actions that need to occur for people to be helped. If I just take that story, and if you're listening, anywhere you are on that spectrum, whether you need to instigate the conversation, whether you're somebody who's like, no, I'll raise my hand, I can go help, or you're a structure kind of person who goes, I can put the plan together. All those are practical steps. We just need to be willing to go, Lord, what do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. You know?
We have to seek God first.
Yeah. Ask him for eyes to see.
And if you're an individual and you care about people, participate with some of your local nonprofits, not just on a once a quarter type thing where you're like, I did my neighborly duty for the year and checked out. Like, tap in, make it a regular to just swing by and see what those folks are doing. I mean, I know organizations that just have a clothes, like any little thing you do, those old clothes in your closet, donating them, that helps somebody else. I mean, there are so many small things that we can do on a day-to-day basis that could really reflect God's love and just show a little justice and mercy.
Yeah. And we've said this before, but go be with people.
Yeah.
I've been afforded the opportunity to lead worship at Hills in Espanol. And I don't speak Spanish, by the way, people. I don't speak Spanish, but
PhD.
I can pronounce in Espanol. And not in Hebrew, obviously, because I had trouble here, but in Espanol, I could do. And so, and being in there in the room with them, though a lot of it I don't understand, some of it I'm picking up, but just being there with them, there are things that I see now that I would not have seen before. You know, the families who are there, hearing some of the stories of people and what's going on with them. I would not have known them if I had not gone and been with them, you know, and it's sometimes kind of awkward because somebody will come up to me and start speaking in Spanish and I'll have that deer in the headlights look. And I'm like,
Twan, you look Dominican.
No. And when you stand up there and you're singing their language,
then they assume, right, sure. Yeah.
You know, he speaks like us.
Right.
And so you got to work through those scenarios too, but work through them is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take those steps because then we see where the injustices are and we're able to step in and do what we can. Not more than you can, but what you can.
Right.
So
that'll preach.
Yeah. Well, our next episode is going to be Wait. Did you just post that?
Oh.
So I think that title kind of tells you what it's about. But
Wait's a nice word, by the way.
Wait a second. Yeah.
so long.
But this has been a good discussion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
I would think so.
So make sure you follow us on YouTube, and are we doing Spotify still?
Yeah.
Yes.
Spotify, YouTube.
Yes.
We will put the links in the show notes. And all that good stuff, and our email address if you want to send questions or comments or thoughts. Make them nice though.
Yeah. Well, it's I mean,
we want to hear what you think.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And let's all be praying about what keeps us from, doing these things that we're talking about. Is it fear? All these things, like God will reveal that to us if we ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening. I'll say
thank you.
that is the first step, one of the first steps, finding out that there's this one table podcast that's talking about all these crazy things that we don't always get talked about. But don't just listen. If you can, please, engage, share. We really think about somebody who, there may be somebody in your mind right now that you're going, man, this person would really love to hear what I just heard. Go ahead and tell them about it. Share it with them. Yeah. Have conversations. That really helps more than you know.
Hey, exactly. Let us have the conversation for you that you might not want to have. It's okay.
Just send them a link.
They got it.
All
right, guys. Until next time, peace and blessings.
All right.